Africa is a land of great leaders. From Shaka Zulu to Mansa Musa, their impact echoes through history. Yet amidst such giants, one leader stands apart, not merely for her bravery, but for the fire in her spirit that burned away the shackles of oppression. Today, we unveil the fierce and fearless tale of Queen Nzinga, the African monarch who took a stand against the slave trade and etched her name in the annals of history forever. The Atlantic slave trade casts a dark shadow over history. Picture being ripped from your home, separated from loved ones, and treated like property. That was the grim reality for countless Africans during this harrowing period. European greed turned people into commodities, traded across the ocean for power and wealth. It's a tale of immense suffering and resilience. Amidst this dark chapter, however, there were glimmers of defiance, moments when African rulers refused to be subdued and fought back against the tide of oppression. Queen Nzinga, the fierce warrior queen of Angola, boldly stood up to the powerful Portuguese Empire and fought against the slave trade. Born into royalty in the year 1583 in the kingdom of Ndongo, present-day Angola, Nzinga Mbonde's life was destined for greatness. Her lineage, the Mbondu royal dynasty, had long held sway over the region, shaping its destiny with wisdom and strength. As a young princess, Nzinga didn't just sit in the shadows waiting for her future to unfold. No, she actively participated in the political affairs of her kingdom. Her keen intellect and diplomatic skills soon became evident, laying the groundwork for the remarkable journey that lay ahead. In those days, the Portuguese had set their sights on the riches of Africa, and their influence was steadily growing. They sought to expand their empire and control the lucrative trade networks that crisscrossed the continent. They focused on Ndongo laying siege and threatening to take over the whole nation. Faced with these encroaching forces, Yaga's brother, the king, found himself in a precarious position. Negotiations with the Portuguese seemed futile. They demanded exorbitant tributes and sought to impose their dominance on the kingdom. The stakes were high, threatening to tip the balance of power in favor of the relentless colonizers. In 1622, King Angola Mundine made a fateful decision to send his sister, Princess Nzinga, on a critical mission to Portugal, a journey that would test her mettle and shape the course of history. Arriving in Lisbon, Nzinga found herself in the very heart of the Portuguese Empire. The bustling streets and grand architecture were a far cry from the lush landscapes of her homeland. Her mission was clear: secure favorable terms with the Portuguese authorities to protect the interests of her kingdom. But the reality of the situation was far from what she had anticipated. Upon her arrival, the Portuguese authorities failed to accord her the respect and recognition she was entitled to as a royal envoy. They treated her poorly, trying to crush her spirit and undermine her authority. However, instead of crumbling under the weight of their disrespect, Nzinga gathered herself with quiet dignity. When the Portuguese governors didn't offer her a chair, Nzinga had her attendant kneel. Without hesitation, the attendant obeyed, allowing Nzinga to mount his back. She then proceeded to sit astride him, facing the Portuguese governor eye to eye. In that moment, she delivered a powerful message. She declared in a firm voice, echoing the sentiments of her resilient people, "My people do not kneel." With these defiant words, Nzinga turned the tables. She confronted the Portuguese head-on, challenging their arrogance and asserting her unwavering strength. News of her actions spread like wildfire, carrying tales of her bravery and determination to every corner of the empire. Nzinga's bold stance resonated with her people, who saw in her a symbol of their own struggles and aspirations. Soon the whispers of her heroism reached the ears of the common folk, who admired her spirit and lauded her as their champion. Stories of her valor became a beacon of hope, inspiring many to resist against the oppressive rule of the Portuguese. Upon her return to Ndongo, Nzinga's reputation had taken on new heights. She was no longer just a diplomat. She was a symbol of defiance and resistance against colonial oppression. The people of Ndongo rallied behind her, recognizing in her the embodiment of their shared struggle for freedom and dignity. However, the Portuguese, stung by her audacity, responded with renewed aggression. They ramped up their attacks on the kingdom, seeking to punish Ndongo for daring to challenge their supremacy. The peaceful discussions that once held some promise were now overshadowed by the looming threat of war. The stage was set for a clash of wills, a battle where honor, freedom, and the very essence of Nzinga's kingdom were at stake. In 1624, tragedy hit Ndongo when King Angola Mandi died, leaving Nzinga in charge. Queen Regent Nzinga Mbonde led her nation while facing constant attacks from the Portuguese. With the passing of her brother, the weight of the throne fell squarely on Nzinga's shoulders. Yet despite the gravity of the situation, she remained resolute. Ever the strategist, she wasted no time in consolidating her power and setting her plans in motion. First and foremost, she realized that to effectively lead her people, she needed a strong foundation, so she immediately set about reorganizing the army, ensuring it was prepared to face the ever-present threat from the Portuguese. At the same time, she forged alliances with neighboring kingdoms and most notably with the escaped slaves, known locally as Imbangala. The Imbangala, led by the Black King Congo, were fierce fighters against the Portuguese. Recognizing their strength and shared enemy, Queen Nzinga chose to align with them, uniting diverse forces under the banner of resistance. Her reign marked a turning point in the history of Angola. No longer willing to be subjugated by the Portuguese, Nzinga's rule ushered in a new era of defiance and courage. Her genius wasn't just in military strength, it was her knack for bringing different groups together for a shared cause. The Portuguese, sensing the shift in power dynamics, felt the urgency to act swiftly. Under the leadership of the ambitious Governor-General, Garcia de Souza, they launched a series of relentless attacks on Queen Nzinga's forces. Battle lines were drawn, and the landscape of Angola became a testament to the ferocity of the ensuing conflict. In the midst of this turmoil, Queen Nzinga's resolve only grew stronger. She led her troops into battle, inspiring them with her fierce determination. One particular engagement, known as the Battle of Kasanje, stands as a pivotal moment in this struggle. Despite being outnumbered and facing superior Portuguese weaponry, Nzinga's forces emerged victorious. This triumph was a resounding declaration to the Portuguese and the rest of the world that the days of unchallenged domination were over. The spirit of resistance burned brightly, fueled by the unwavering courage of Queen Nzinga and her army. Nzinga ruled over her kingdom with a combination of strength and diplomacy. While she fiercely protected her people and land from outside threats, she also understood the value of negotiation. She was not afraid to engage with her enemies, signing treaties when it served her purpose and breaking them without remorse when the time was right. This blend of toughness and cunning made her a formidable leader, respected and feared in equal measure. One of Nzinga's most significant achievements was her ability to maintain peace within her vast empire. She kept her realm stable, uniting her people and building a strong collective identity. This internal cohesion was vital to her survival against the relentless Portuguese onslaught. Over the years, Queen Nzinga's reign became synonymous with resilience and resistance. Her story resonated far beyond the borders of Angola, inspiring awe and admiration from those who heard tales of her bravery. She became a beacon of hope, proving one person can truly change everything. The Portuguese, though initially dismissive of Nzinga's capabilities, gradually came to respect her tenacity. They recognized that they were up against a leader who would not back down, no matter how dire the circumstances. This grudging respect, however, did little to alter the course of events. Nzinga's legacy as a defiant leader was firmly established. Throughout her reign, Nzinga's health never wavered, allowing her to lead her people for an impressive 39 years. This longevity ensured that her vision for her kingdom remained steadfast, providing her people with a continuous sense of stability and security. As Nzinga approached the twilight years of her life, she knew her time on earth was drawing to a close. Yet even in her final years, she continued to inspire. She shared her wisdom and strategies, ensuring the resistance would continue to shine brightly. Finally, the day came when Queen Nzinga breathed her last breath. She died in the year 1663, leaving behind a legacy that would echo through the ages. Her death was not the end. It was a transition, a passing of the torch to those who would carry on her fight for freedom and equality. Today, the memory of Queen Nzinga lives on in Angola and beyond. Statues and monuments have been erected in her honor, serving as constant reminders of her indomitable spirit. Schools and institutions bear her name, ensuring that future generations will learn about her courage and emulate her example. People are really getting into untold historical stories, especially about heroes like Queen Nzinga. People are finally recognizing and celebrating voices that history often ignored. As we bring this episode to a close, we invite you to join the conversation. What aspects of Queen Nzinga's story resonated with you the most? How do you think her legacy shapes Africa today? Drop your thoughts below. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to support our channel, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. By doing so, you'll not only help us continue producing captivating content, but you will also be part of a community that values and celebrates Africa's rich history and culture. Together, let's keep the stories of our ancestors alive and ensure they continue to inspire generations to come. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and above all, stay proud of our shared African heritage.